All right. This isn't a report yet about the daily stuff. It was just one thought about what's been going on with the barrage of stories blaming Trump administration for all kinds of incompetence, desperately trying to make it seem like the Chinese government is real bad. If you saw my Twitter timeline, you saw that video of that woman, I think based Poland, or Truth Has No Agenda, retweeted once again one of these. I don't get that thing with the, and this woman just shouting how no, the Chinese government has totally lied to us. They've totally betrayed us, and that she named Tibet as a separate region, and said I now am for their independence. She was just losing it. The whole, that population, the now post Tiananmen Square, and people having no idea what Tiananmen Square is, and that the People's Republic, that their government, their intelligence people, will do anything to eliminate any evidence of the Tiananmen Square incident. All of this, this is now a generation that's never going to be able to trust the central planning, the communist government. Now it's just understanding how corrupt things are, because Serpent ZA here on YouTube has made it clear, like, no, when you're in China, you play the game. Once you get to a certain point, once you're a fat carp and you start coming, and you start getting bold enough to come up nice and high to get the real good bites of, to get the good eats, you might get caught. You might get caught in the net. And you'll get thrown back if there's something you could give, give the people who reap the crop. If you could give them a little cream in some way, then you get thrown back in the water. Maybe you could become a fatter carp. If you fail, you go in the pot. Everything you have is now the government's. And this is also how their state has been fundamentally just nationalizing, constantly renationalizing wealth. That when a company finally, usually it's corrupt, it's not operating well. It turns out like some unbelievable number of this. It's so normal that you have to figure we're being told low numbers. So that whole economy is based on people starting these companies that in some way, shape, or form cut corners, cheat, lie, or steal. And then there's somebody's left holding the bag, and then the company's assets are bought up, and these people get bad credit scores, and in some way, shape, or form they got to do whatever it takes to get a good one again, probably, paying the fisherman. And so now with the coronavirus, we could see that China knows that it has to try in some way, shape, or form to do anything it can to try to get people to not pay attention. So what's interesting is the tack they're taking. There's a lot of different ways they could approach this. There's a lot of ways they could approach trying to make this, it's not so bad, hey, we didn't fuck you, it wasn't us, there's all these different ways they could do this. But what they're approaching it as is, trying to get the woke left in America and in Britain, and they're succeeding. In Britain, in the Netherlands, in much of they're succeeding in getting woke people from the sphere of Western European countries. They're getting these people to buy the racism argument. Don't do things that might make sense. We did not shut off travel because of racism. It would be racist. You know, I always sound like that in the morning. Um, I actually have a bit of a allergy to dust, so I actually have to make sure I have to open all my windows and air the place out. Actually, um, so one of the things I started thinking about was I'm finding it very interesting now that we're literally seeing World Health Organization. So everything now, the EU, the UN, the World Health Organization, and apparently just China, which is now this ten, tentacle squid parasite thing, this xenomorph, um, that that everything is the woke left, that all woke left arguments are arguments for you to just simply, in some way, shape, or form, let down your defenses so that global corporations can exploit you. And all these global corporations have to do is hand out welfare checks to relatively lazy, stupid, and irrational people. As long as you give irrational women of European descent welfare checks, they will go along with anything. This is now clearly what we see. They were just told, go to college and learn something. They learned all this stuff that they can sell on the market. So we built up literally a 20-year economy on trying to get all these lagging groups into the economy via education, but none of them went into raw engineering. None of them figured out how to basically do something so revolutionary it caused massive job losses in relatively skilled labor. So those people had to move into something like making a cell phone. They had to make the option to Alphabet, Google, or YouTube 15 years ago. You know that, but no, that didn't happen. Instead, people went massively into the service sector to provide for Karen, who now had some government job or a public bureau or HR invented job, using, you know, the political science degree, using psychology degrees, using all these degrees that we know in no way, shape, or form actually have show any efficacy in the market as far as wealth building, because they're not a hard science based. Yeah, they're not hard science based, and this would include even programming, like even programming. Even though a lot of programming is fundamentally understanding a language and understanding this is actually how you make sentences in this language specifically for these purposes. And so that there's code that is literally just kind of editing, you know, tightening up code. It's not always revolutionary. And now it can guess what you're thinking, you know. And with this, enter, I've invented the super galaxy brain AI, you know, that a lot of programming is, you know, making your Windows work correctly on your website. Um, Even I would include that in hard science, because there is at some point something that has to do with how actual mathematics works. No, there's just certain ways you have to understand. No, computers operate this way because they're using, this is all just numbers to them. So women who could do that, the likelihood that there's somebody who's going to save money, because saving money is really smart. You see, that they're included in this whole realm of wealth builders over the last 20 years. And then oddly enough, housewives who like being housewives, they have built wealth. They're a store of wealth, actually. If they're the true frugal housewife, operating like a smart Western European descended person, you know, that then they're actually building wealth. There's an accruement of wealth because the whole enjoyment of having the family you obviously wanted to produce, that is a profit. It's a psychological profit. There's a weird thing people on the left don't get: psychological profit. Because you could have psychological debts in a way. You could have a moment where you feel bad, where what you invested your time in has made you feel really, really, really bad. That's not profitable. And then there's things you could do with your time that is profitable. That if you end up feeling better and that lasts, the likelihood that you will enjoy your life, because the time is finite. So if you've invested wisely your time, this is why religion kind of still exists fundamentally. Um, we are seeing now that the entire worldview of the modern period of the liberals are seriously in question. What is it to be a liberal? I think Sargon of Akkad and that bunch of the British people, all those British types, like the Britisher academic agent, those guys are the best, I'm thinking, who are describing especially liberalism well because of the English, their reflection on it specifically from an English point of view. Because I'm thinking now, us Americans, we are once again having to redefine what it is, what is Americanism, what is the American way, and nationalism is now proven out. It's now a matter of shaming the central planners. It because as soon as the wind blows the wrong way, most of their ideas go to shit. As soon as the wind blows the wrong way, all these people who are just on the softer side of our society, the Democrats, the liberals, the progressives, these silk-palmed weaklings, they can't commit. They can't commit to this must be done. People are going to say, oh, but New York, and it's just like, I'm sorry, this is, no, 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 no. California. Gavin Newsom got told. Donald Trump and him had a meeting, and Gavin Newsom got told, and Gavin Newsom is a snake, so he just turned and coiled around coiled around the scepter of power, and now is doing what is he probably was told, like, no, these things are going to happen over about the next week. You are going to go along with them. And for him, he's probably like, yeah, because I have there's no way we can handle like the South Central riots of the 90s. We that can never happen again. That can never ever ever happen again. They can't do it. They can't handle that. All it's going to take is one earthquake, and I mean, this will be unbelievably disastrous. All we need is one good solid earthquake on the West Coast, and we are really totally fucked. So, and there's real reasons for this. Note they've had to drain a reservoir because they're so worried about earthquakes. They're draining reservoirs in California. So drinking water is, I mean, just, no, Gavin got told what to do. There's too much Boeing assets in Washington. That's why Bremerton, he was just like, no. No. And Oregon was able to fake it for a while because it's just Oregon is relatively sparsely populated. People here are populations that if you tell them, could you please stay inside, they'd be like, chill, dude. So it's slightly different. You have a lot of populations like that. So this was just some thoughts that had hit me about how, and also after the recent debates that have gone on Ralph's stream. There was two of them specifically. I'll just say that last week that showed there is an end of the right wing that is reactionary in a way that I think a lot of people were sitting there going, okay, no, this is just cringeworthy. Slow down. This isn't winning points because you're the most reactionary guy. The other guy, no, stop losing. Please stop losing. Holy shit. Right wing bro. Could you just downshift? Nope. Not going to do it. All right, got it. Wow. Homeboy lost to this guy. Literally was an economics class. One of these became an economics class. I couldn't believe it. I was just sitting there like, No, this is just fundamentally how finances, even in imperial finances, work this way. Oh my God, dude, like, what the fuck, right wing guy? So now we're starting to see. No, it's that the nationalists have made a decision. The nationalists don't have a problem. This is the knickers. They don't have a problem. They know what their community is. They've defined it. The ones who are Catholic are Catholic. The ones who are Orthodox are Orthodox. The ones who are Protestants are Protestants. But their big thing is that it's America first. They're betting on that. If you just, if people just could assemble the things they need, we wouldn't have these problems. All this is about are people in our society who have a tendency of being lazy and like sitting around. Oh, look how luxurious our life is in the center of the empire. Lucky China makes everything for us. Tee hee. And at the same time, these are people locking up whole religious groups. These are people who've decimated neighboring cultures. They just, uh, oh yuck! It's they're was it fundamentally it's like a Han supremacist type system. Um, they rewrite history. It's one of these things now that, I mean, it's like this is sort of this nightmare world that exists over there. Then this nightmare disease that comes from there. Will we stop pretending that central planners and socialists and just sort of not having rules? Oh, herd immunity, the herd immunity argument going on now in Britain and the Netherlands. See how that goes. Um, there's going to be, of course, we have our understanding of the infection rate. We have somewhere around a 6% in the modern world with cleaning, with our ability to stay healthy. 6% death rate. I think there's only 100 some cases in all the state of Oregon at this stage. Um, there is the understanding of this would be relatively difficult for a lot of people to catch and suffer from. And with that in mind, as soon as decisions have to be made, and they are made, look at the vilification. Look at how the parties start behaving. That there's those who instantaneously they were like, these things have to be done. A rumor from a customer, the oh shit squad was pulled in only about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. The oh shit binder from the movies. This is protocol da da da, protocol da 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 da. We are instituting protocol such and such. Call the president. Protocol 64, whatever. Rumor. So this means that there's, once again, we're looking at the Byzantine bureaucratic. But we got to keep. We got to keep the tampons coming in. We've got to have the mocha chocolates. All these normal things have to keep going at all times. Because we never prepare for disaster. We, in every way, shape, or form, have not prepared for disaster. And everybody, I think, was thinking, will the baby boomers pass away before the shit hits the fan? Nope. And it's one of these things I've had to think, because Robert Sepper had his videos on last night. And it was that moment where it's like, no. You want to see this. And one of the things was about God tricking people. Christians have thrown this idea out. Christians typically throw this idea out. We will have, God works in strange ways. Things like that. But the tricky God, we've thrown this out. But with Judaism, God will trick you. Even what was it? Jacob, Yaakov, he cheats, or the heel cheat, heel sneak. um, and 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 I mean heel, like the heel of your foot, um, and the idea of the person who must be clever to get through life. So we don't really have a quite that. The Lord Jesus was clever in the way that he would get people to expose their interest in the way the law being interpreted. He didn't cheat people. Was that's not, but all the lessons of the scriptures and the wisdom of them are to be learned. You're meant to understand those stories in their context, and this is just a hard context. And so this then also even makes more clear the new covenant is to the Christian, if they understand, no, but this is the context in those days of Yahweh's relationship to his people. That now and then he would trick them, and in their mentality of kind of a father, a teacher, a king, a guide, that all the many ways that God is understood, and the many terminologies for him, as Adonai, El, all these things, um, that's a factor of it. You are tested, but sometimes you're tested through trickery. Sometimes there's a whole army of these spirits that will actually attempt constantly to trick you into things, such that if you write their names in sand, people see such a word and they're ashamed and they don't want to look at such a thing. I don't. Oh, that. I don't want. I know what that is. I'm getting out of here. I'm not going to throw rocks at this lady. I think that this is an era of time that the nationalists are going to, one, be what they are, state by state, region by region, and it's going to be a tough slog to organize around issues. The beauty is it will know exactly what issues we want to organize around our focus, because our focus is us first. We should be making these cell phones. We should be making these mini computers. It's that we are insisting on making things people won't buy. We've had now 10 years of people in almost every field making things that people really kind of don't want in too many creative fields. And that's going to change. The cream and the curds and everything, all of it's going to be separated. It's all going to get separated, and it's all going to go to the point where it's going to go. It's going to feed who it's going to feed. And that's what I think is going to be interesting after this. Is that really there's going to be a lot of investors who are going to have to, they're going to have a whole new language of risk. It's going to be a whole new language of risk, where it's like, this is very nice that you have this idea, and it's supposed to make people feel the feelings about the people who are of color, and the generosity of the feelings, and the good, and the yum yum, and the nom nom, halo polish. And it's because I can tell you right now, the industry of nonprofits, they're having a tough time. Having a tough time. Real tough time. Real tough time. So, yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting to see how this all ends up. It's gonna separate the wheat from the chaff. The socialists have lost. The socialists have completely lost. And now we're even seeing, if you're following AOC on Twitter, if you're following what's going on with the Democrats, I mean, just totally fucking it up. Because they know that these states full of give me that people can't, there's no, they'll never make, they don't bake bread, they won't make the phones, it's, they fuck these people. They fucked these people by giving their jobs to Wan and Yang, and that's it. It's 20 to 40 years of gutting the economy of its fundamentals. I remember one time we mixed something in the last thing, mixed something at Nutrition Industries when I worked there. And to mix it, we had to buy the mixer from China. What the best part was the mixer turned out to be like 7 years old, and it had been bought from a place in America. And then just all the signs changed, put in Mandarin, used in China for some period of time, and then we bought it from them. And I mean, oh God, that was such a terrible project too. Terrible project. Um, and so it was. We were not prepared for what we needed to do for that project. Was fundamentally. Um, and so but that's the deal. That's it. We're going to see a major change after this, and it's going to be very fascinating. It's going to be very fascinating because the money's not going to be able to fall forever from everywhere. The real investor class is going to have so much to deal with after this. All this silver, all this platinum that's hit the market, all this demand for ammo that's going to mean all these places are going to have to restock up on all the base constituent things. It's chemicals. It's so much is going to change, and it's going to be it's yeah, that's my bet. And it's going to be hard on totally normal people who had totally normal jobs, because there's going to be whole markets that are going to be crushed by this, because nobody will want to loan them money. They'll want to put their money into something that they're absolutely sure they can get a return on. That'll be like chemicals, because they know people will have to buy things made of chemicals. They'll put their money into places that they're like, no, I know I'll get a return, because people absolutely need this. These people loaning small business loans to people of color who are handicapped and special marginalized. Oh my God, I have no idea if I'm going to make a return on that. That's so a lot of that's over. It because you need a huge boom time for that. You need too much money to just constantly feed NGOs fucking money to usurp the sovereignty of nations. So all right, later.